Let's talk about web performance monitoring. Wait, don't leave. Performance doesn't suck anymore. In the old days, I'll admit, we used to just run web page test reports or lighthouse audits on our site periodically. It was a boring manual task to keep track of our website speed and to see when performance needed some development attention. But I have a secret for you. All those tests that we ran, all those performance audits, they were lies. The hypothetical performance of our site is all they were, not anything like real users' experience. I've seen so many sites ace their lighthouse audits, but fail real user performance metrics. What if, instead of remembering to test our performance, we could just automatically get performance reports from the users as they visit our page? So we could know exactly when, where, and how our website is slow. Crazy, right? I know it's insane. But it's called Real User Performance Monitoring. And we're launching it today from RequestMetrics. This is super cool. This is RequestMetrics. I'm showing you some real user performance experiences from a production site. RequestMetrics captures lots of performance metrics like the Core Web Vitals, time to first byte, first contentful paint, and page load, as well as the things that make up page load like DNS time, SSL, server time, the blocking assets, and client-side rendering time. But I'm getting ahead of myself. How do you get this data? First, we have to install it. RequestMetrics installs like an analytics tool. You copy and paste this snippet of code into your HTML markup so that it's loaded by the end users from your site. You can also install us as an NPM package and bundle us into a thick client application, or drop us in with Google Tag Manager. If you're not ready to make code changes, you can use our Chrome browser extension to automatically capture your performance experience as you browse around your site and the web overall. I've already installed the JavaScript snippet in our site, so let's head back to the dashboard. The dashboard rolls up all the different performance metrics so that we can have a quick view of how we're doing and where we need to look into further. We can also explore metrics using the left-hand navigation. Let's dig into load time some more. RequestMetrics gives you lots of easy ways of visualizing this complex data. One of my favorites is this trend line report, which shows both the 75th percentile of load time for the given time period, as well as the overall for the entire period. You see it in the blue and green lines. In the background, there's also a volume chart showing you how many data points that we have to go into this and what experience each of those users have. There's a really clear pattern here that as volume drops off, as fewer users hit the site, the 75th percentile of load also falls, meaning that more slow users are visiting the site and dragging down the value. We can also use this chart to compare with the previous time period so that we can see if we're getting better, faster, or slower. All the charts in RequestMetrics get way more powerful when we combine them with filters. Everything in RequestMetrics is filterable. It allows us to zero in on the pages, metrics, devices, or users that are the most important to us so that we can make sure they have a great experience. Let's add a few filters. Here we can look at parts of the URL, parts of the page that we want to be present. Let's look for all the URLs that have software in a segment. There's a lot of those. We can also look at different facets of performance, like maybe users who have a slightly slower client time. We can look at the client device, like let's look at Apple Mac users on fast broadband connections. And maybe our audience is located in the United States, so let's focus on them too. We can apply the filter and the whole UI is instantly transformed to show us only the data that we're after. The metrics, the charts, everything now reflects this filter. And below we can even see the individual pages that make up this data. Let's zoom in on one. Now we're looking at the performance of this particular page. Again, all the filters are still applied. There isn't a lot of data for this particular page, so the graphs look really spiky. We can fix that by removing some of our filters. That's better. Now we have a bigger perspective of how this page performs for everyone. We can see the distribution of load time as well as the trend, and aggregate metrics about how long servers blocking assets and clients take on this particular URL. We can see recent page loads, the users that are loading the page, where in the world it loads from, and the browsers that load it the most. And even zoom all the way in to an individual request to this page. In this case, we have an Chrome on an Apple Mac coming in from the USA. We capture information about their client, their session, how long they spend on the page, and of course, all of the great performance information that we need in order to understand and accelerate our websites. Real user performance monitoring from Request Metrics is a game changer. It's never been this easy to automatically get your performance reports, and with our data and alerts, you'll know exactly when you need to act to protect your user experience, boost your SEO, and increase the revenue of your site. Tomorrow, on day 2 of Request Metrics Launch Week, I'll be talking about the core web vitals and how Request Metrics can make them useful and actionable for you. If that sounds good, make sure to like, subscribe, and get notified when we drop the next video. See you then.